Hello dogs, Lildawg right here right now. Welcome back to Magical Eyes Red is for Anguish. Last time we left off, a guy's arm got chopped off. So that was probably fun for the guy to experience. Family restaurant, the B Peach Kamasaki Hanmachi branch. One of the branches of the family restaurant chain Big Peach. Their branches can be found everywhere in the country. They serve every kind of food from Japanese and Western to Chinese. They currently offer special limited dishes made with spring vegetables. Feels like being lost in a horror movie. Suzunari Rin's first impression of this man named Sojima is that he talks in a rather emotionless way. The moment Suzunari entered the coffee shop for the meeting, he noticed an exceptional aura surrounding the man. Now that the two of them are actually talking, the peculiarity is even more distinct. The man looks a lot like a doll, or rather, like a machine. Suzunari thinks there must be something human missing from this man sitting on the sofa across from him. Without going against that impression, Sojima keeps speaking iconically. Laconically? Give me a moment. It just means expressing few words, okay? I just needed to learn what that meant. Here's a summary of what he said so far. Everything started 3 months ago when one of Sojima's supervisors went missing. His boss was a somewhat forceful man, but adaptable and social enough that none of his co-workers or family could think of a reason for his sudden disappearance, which was why they informed the police in less than 2 days. Although Sojima wondered about the reason too, he didn't try to probe any further. There had been some signs before he went missing. Signs? He told people around him that someone had been watching him. His actions supported it. He was always glancing behind his back and being conscious of other people looking at him. By watching, he meant stuff like tailing, monitoring? Yes, monitoring. He used exactly that word. He said someone was monitoring him. I wouldn't attribute his disappearance to that, but, regardless of the man's stammer, Suzunari can't see any signs of hesitation on his face. I mean, the exact same thing has been happening to me since around a week ago. What do you mean exactly? I feel like someone's watching me all the time. Finally, the point of Sojima's story is clear. He is currently in the same position as his missing boss used to be, so he's concerned that he may end up going missing too. However, let me get something straight. There is no confirmed link between someone monitoring him and his disappearance, is there? No, there isn't. And there's no guarantee you're being monitored by the same person who followed your supervisor, right? It's not unlikely that this Sojima's fellow's case has no connection to his supervisors, and he only has his own personal stalker. Yes, absolutely. He gives a deep nod without changing his facial expression in the slightest. But I can tell this isn't ordinary. What I'm going to tell you now is way off the wall. I hope you won't laugh. Promise I won't. I've been there countless times. Then let me begin. Starts off in a hesitant manner. My apartment is on the 8th floor and something happened in one of the rooms. The entire building is heavily soundproofed and there are no sources of noise in the surrounding area, so my apartment is very quiet during the night. That's why I noticed that sound. Give me a moment. Any more? No? Alright. That's why I noticed that sound. You noticed a sound? Yes, if I recall right, it was a little past 2 in the morning. Woke up to use the bathroom and was on my way back. I thought I heard a sound from the room I used as a storage and went to check, expecting a robber or something like that, but I couldn't see anything out of the ordinary. Despite that, I could still hear the sound, similar to that of knocking on a window. I listened more carefully and identified the source of the sound. It came from the window at the back of the room. I thought there must have been something hanging by the window. Took a step forward and I saw a human face peeking in from between the curtains. Okay? Suzunari let out a word because the story had begun drawing close to his territory. I could only see the face for a few seconds. They vanished immediately, as if escaping from me. What about the possibility that you were mistaken? It was dark and I couldn't see clearly, but he picks up his cup of coffee, hands slightly shaking. So you don't think it could have been something else? If it wasn't what I thought it was, that would have been fine by me, but I swear it was a human face. He sounds like he is thoroughly assured of what he witnessed. He must have seen it very clearly. You could have bumped into a robber who was about to break into your apartment. No, that's highly improbable. Outside the windows, there's just a smooth wall. If that's the whole truth, this man is under something far beyond monitoring. Whatever it is for stalking or robbing, who would climb up a sheer wall without a good reason? You being monitored has something to do with your boss's disappearance. Is that what you're trying to say here? I know I'm not making any sense, but I'm telling you this because I remember what he said to me right before he disappeared. What is it that he said? He said he had someone's eyes in his bedroom on the second floor of his house late at night. Someone who was peeping into the bedroom from outside the window. If that's the case, that sounds remarkably similar to the situation you're in at the moment. Even though the evidence is nothing more than Sojima's personal perspective and memory, both of which are pretty vague, Suzunari can tell something is off. And at the same time, he has already personally decided that he has to stay away from this case. There are several reasons. First off, simply based on the story so far, it's highly likely that it's something else that's causing this bizarre phenomenon this Sojima guy is facing. Even if everything he says about it is true, it could have all been performed by a human being. The use of tools or techniques, climbing up the wall should be possible. Likewise, you could rope down the wall from an upper floor. Just why would anyone do that? That doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that it's not impossible to reach the 8th floor by going up or down on the wall, however bizarre it may sound. The chance of the perpetrator being human is way higher than it is being a variant. In other words, the chance of it being a variant-related incident is only 1 in a million. Normally, people show some kind of mental disturbance when they face what is beyond common sense. Some of them try to act tough, while some of them get horribly scared. It depends on the person. Even if it is something that derives from things on that side of the world, most people more or less go crazy knowing they've been followed for days. Few can remain as composed as him. What makes him more unnatural is that he has admitted that he witnessed a suspect. The man is irrationally calm. In the first place, this meeting was arranged by one of Suzunari's acquaintances. Noodle Graveyard has nothing to do with it yet. Suzunari agrees to work for Sojima. He will have to deal with everything from reporting the ramen shop to going through all the necessary procedures on his own, each of which comes at quite a bit of cost. That's why Suzunari isn't interested in this case from the very start, but he ended up going anyway because he was told the man was at a complete loss for what to do. However, the one who is supposed to be at a loss looks completely fine in front of him. There's no proof his trouble is a variant case. Nothing about it makes any sense. Those are the factors that make Suzunari negative about the job. He's asking more questions, but only out of curiosity. Want to confirm something. Do you have the suspect recorded in any medium, like a photo taken with mobile? Well, no. It was so sudden, so. His expression remains unchanged with his tone of voice sounds disturbed. Do you have anything that could corroborate your claims? I live by myself, so no one else saw it. I did try to search for any proof for you, but you couldn't find anything? Unfortunately, that's right. Suzunari cannot detect any emotions out of his face that goes beyond a poker face. He gives up trying to see through the authenticity of his words through his responses. I've been too afraid to fall asleep lately, and I think I'm going to go insane soon. You have my sympathy. So what do you think of what I shared with you so far? Bottom line is, I can't say for anything for sure. In truth, Suzunari is intuitionally aware that there has to be something unusual behind his story. That awareness does not arrive from the story itself, but from the man's artificial calm. Does that mean you're not going to take my case? I'm afraid I must decline. How disappointing. He responds nonchalantly. So it is hard for you to believe me? In all honesty, from what you told me, I have this feeling that there could be something that would involve us. I'm going to pass it along to those responsible, but I'm personally too doubtful of you to directly take your case. Way too doubtful. So basically, it's not that you don't believe my story, but that you can't trust me? Frankly, yes. Boy, it's like I was told, you really are honest. He makes a troubled titter, but his face still smells artificial. Turned me down. I don't have any other measures left to take. How so? Because I don't know any specialists other than you. If it's a real-life incident, you can use a private detective. If it's something supernatural, go to a scientist. You can do research on the internet or through the grapevine unless you care about credibility. Am I wrong about this? Why is it do I have to ask those kinds of people for help? Sojima inclines his head to his side as if my question was strange. I won't do that because I know this is not done by human beings or ghosted monsters. It's done by variants. Mr. Suzunari, you're an expert on them, which is why I was seeking help from you. Yes, if this has something to do with variants, you're doing the right thing. Just how much does this man know? The question is swelling up inside Suzunari's mind. As Sojima mentioned just now, the entities called variants are wholly different from monsters or ghosts in tale. There certainly are definitions for them, but they are not anything that amateurs can properly make out in one glance. Some training experience are inevitably required. Even many of those who work in this business but don't directly deal with variants themselves can't distinguish variant-related cases from those that aren't. But what about this man? Suzunari does not know where he learned about them, but he seems to know about variants and about Suzunari possessing countermeasures against them. What has made this ordinary man so sure must be. Either way, this is out of the question. Suzunari finishes up his drink and lets out a sigh. There's nothing more to talk or ask about between the two men, and they will not see each other ever again. Standing against variance itself is already too much of a risk. The world Suzunari works in is one where you risk your life fighting against those that may hide deadly fangs or poison. You must learn everything you can about your opponent in order to minimize risk in the battlefield. Nonetheless, this man is clearly hiding something. How could he do anything for him, risking his own life? Again, I'll personally not take your case. Okay. Receiving a clear-cut denial, the straight consultor takes it more easily than Suzunari expected. Seems like he had predicted he would be turned down. He picks up the bill and offers to pay it as gratitude for Suzunari's time and trouble, saying it is such a shame. Even then, his face remains frozen like that of a doll. I see. Alright. Back to Noodle Graveyard. You! Pops, I got some questions for you. I know what you want to ask. You want to know what the couple were doing in the park last night, huh? Heh. I knew you were old enough to be interested in that. I'm not interested in that in the slightest. For real? What kind of teenager are you? Want to ask about is the case, the knick-knack shop, the crime scene. What was it like there? The place looked way too messed up for it to have done by only one person. Even heavy shells reportedly lay on the floor. Plus, they found a lot of slash marks on the walls and shelves, slash marks from a large blade. That could be the weapon they used to cut Mikawa's arm off. Could be. By the way, it is confirmed that they didn't have any swords that matched those slash marks in the shop, which means the blade was brought from the outside. What about the footprints left there? The victim must have been fighting back desperately. The floor was covered with too much scattered goods and blood to pick up out any footprints. To begin with, lots of people come and go in there, like staff and traders. I have a decent grasp of the big picture now, and that's why I noticed something. Pops, why was it this morning you called me in here? I already have an idea. The assault case occurred a week ago, and the exact same day the abandoned arm was reported to the authorities, which served as the trigger to consider the doll as a suspect. 3 days later, 4 days before today, the victim recovered enough to tell the police about the doll. None of those points seem critical enough for Pops to have summoned me here this morning. Assume something happened between yesterday and this morning. How insightful of you, Junior. The issue is this list that arrived this morning. Take a look at it. Passes me a piece of paper. I stare down as it is told. So this is a list of the doll's previous owners. We've just started working on it, and it's still incomplete. On the paper I see individual names, their old and current addresses, and the time periods they own the doll. The owners are sorted from newest to oldest, and the oldest date shows that the doll in question is more than 10 years old. Okay, I can see why I was called. Alright? I can tell how bizarre this is without any details. The issue lies in the address section. There are 7 fully identified owners, and that's written in for their current addresses. Missing. Holy crap! This doll has been busy. All of them are missing, huh? To our current knowledge, yes, except for the severely injured shop owner. It can't be a coincidence. Truth be told, I wish it were a coincidence. When did they start putting this list together? 3 days ago. I'm tremendously impressed by the capabilities of the Disobeyers Intelligence Gathering Department. The same way as when I worked on Murasi Tomomi's case the other day. And the fact the list has the missing people on it as the result of the 3-day investigation by those competent members tells me if that's the case, these missing owners they're probably missing for good. They have already been declared legally dead. Declared dead in absentia, the legal process through which a person is legally declared dead after he or she has been missing for a significant period of time and when there is no proof for him or her to still be alive. The process is divided into 2 special categories: normal absences and special absences. In those cases, Pops mentioned those missing people belong into normal absences because it has been reported over 7 years since their families legally reported them to be missing. You see the word dead in parentheses? That's it. Are they thought to be dead because too much time has passed? That's right, it's not that their bodies have been found, which means that every one of those on the list is gone as if they had never existed. 7 people own the doll are all missing. How insane. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered to have you come in here. If this is variant related, it will be categorized as a rather severe in terms of numbers victims involved. Have there been any suspects for any of the disappearances? As far as we know, 0. Some of the victims' relatives had police search, but there were no signs of foul play. All of them went missing just like that. Sounds like they were all spirited away. When we were looking in the knick-knack shop assault case, we bumped into something more terrible. This might be an inappropriate thing to say, but I feel like the missing case is way more than the assault case. To make a long story short, the assault case is pretty brutal, but it could just be another robbery. On the contrary, we have no idea what has been going on with this disappearance. Motives, purposes, or scale, nothing whatsoever. Now you understand why I need you, right? Yes. When there is this much we don't know, you're the best vanguard we've got. In a nutshell, I may end up having to charge into the battlefield without knowing who or what awaits me. Actually, that's exactly what we're talking about. I have no problem with that. This seems to have started in my area after all. Since the shop owner is hospitalized in the central ward, I'm going to poke the lovebirds as well, just in case. That's very assuring. I don't know how much it would help, but I'd like to ask for permission to go somewhere. Where's that? The object professional. Request granted. I have also been considering talking to him once I've got more info. But you've got to be careful, especially of your capacity to pay. I know that. If anything urgent pops up, I'll call you immediately. I'm really counting on you. Roger that. Now that things have turned out this way, I have to keep myself available so I can respond swiftly to any new information. That will limit to what I can do during Golden Week, but that's what's expected in the first place. The past few years have always been like this. I never get more than a few peaceful days at once. But then, it is Golden Week. I understand how diligent you are, but make sure you take some time for yourself. His parting words were clearly suggesting I should amply prepare myself for whatever may come. The rest of my holidays will not be calm. Interesting. So, 7 people have gone missing to a doll. And that same doll is assumed to have cut off the shop owner's arms. Or the shop owner's arm. Interesting. Nanashi, a slightly unusual knick-knack shop that occupies a room in the multi-tenant building. Its real identity is a shop that only offers variant-related products to the disobeyers. Without technical knowledge, you would have no idea how valuable all these goods could be. Gamejolt Station, worthy of carrying its name. It is a major artery in the city's transportation network. While the section that covers my place in the noodle shop is considered more of a commuter town, the station takes on myriad roles. It's not just a hub with multiple routes, but also a complex providing entertainment, commerce, offices, medical services, and such. Because this area sees so much activity, it's very important to the disobeyers. Accordingly, we have plenty of people and facilities situated here. The north side of the station brims with commercial and entertainment facilities. A short walk from the main thoroughfare, there's a multi-tenant building in a narrow alley. At first glance, the lack of signs on display gives the impression the building is used for morally questionable purposes. The destination is one of the rooms in there. You! Hello there. Oh dear, I wonder what brought a handsome young man like you to this very out-of-the-way shop. A welcoming cry runs through the store the moment I enter. The source of that unabashed, flattering remark toward the abrupt customer is a young man wearing an unusual outfit combining a school uniform and a short apron. Ah, it's you. I just mistook you for a fashion model. I swear, you grow more gorgeous every day I see you. You must have women throwing themselves all over you at school. Let's just get this out of the way. I came here to ask you some questions, not to buy anything. God damn it, who's a bloody model? You're just a goddamn mole. Why don't you just crawl back to your dark human nest and dig the hell around? Better leave it to a specialist when it comes to objects. I don't know anyone better than Nanashi Do, this shop in Nanashi himself. His real name is Nanakami. He's a disobeyer who runs the shop, Nanashi Do, frequented by other disobeyers. Because his all too virile business sense, he has various kinds of nicknames. Scrooge, Miser, or Pinch Penny. Apparently he finds that sort of reputation satisfying rather than offensive. Even though he has this slightly very twisted personality, he does possess potent powers and a wealth of knowledge that makes up for that. Well, you hardly come visit here on your own, so I think I'll try to be nice to you, at least on the surface. You probably shouldn't mention the on the surface part. You stop being nice the moment you do. If you'd like me to be genuinely nice, you're gonna need to buy something from me. I'm sorry, I didn't bring my wallet today. I have my mobile and travel card with me, so there's no trouble getting here. Well, even if I had my wallet, I wouldn't be able to afford any of the products available here. What the? No wallet? Oh, Lord. You've gotta be bloody kidding me. How the hell could I be nice to a walletless customer? What a letdown. Listen here, Nanashi, you're always too desperate to rob your customers of everything they've got. You're as good as a bandit. Excuse me, but what part of that is a problem? With his purest eyes ever. Okay, I give up. Our perspectives are just way too different for us to understand each other. For now, I promise I'll buy something for you next time I'm here. For real? I didn't mean to pressure you to do that. I feel so sorry now. Everything you said was meant to make me do this, wasn't it? So how may I help you? Tell you what, I tell whatever I know. This sort of hard sell, almost blackmail dialogue is usually what he exchanges with his customers. However, once a deal has been settled, he always makes sure you get your money's worth. Forceful, yet not foul. And that is why he and his shop have considerable credibility with me and a lot of my coworkers. I might work on a doll case, and I'd like your advice as an object expert. A doll? That is one broad category. I suppose this is going to be very challenging. To be realistic, I'm not expecting clear answers. Even just some hints would help. Still trying to sort out what I got from the noodle graveyard just now. If that's the case, I feel a little less pressured. Alright then, could you fill me in on the case? Sure, a week ago... Huh! Just making sure there isn't... You! And that's all I can share with you at this point. I see, all the owners went missing, huh? Could be something similar to the Hope Diamond. A blue diamond currently owned by the Smithsonian Institution in the United States. Not only its value as a jewel, but the peculiar history of its past owner has been adding to its legend. The jewel is also known as a cursed gem that brings harm to its owners. Is that the diamond they say that brings calamity to its owners? Yes, people talk about how cursed that thing is, but it's been mostly made up. And you suspect this doll is similar sort of a cursed object? Well, before answering that, did you know that there are plenty of spooky stories and folk tales about dolls across the globe? I'm not sure about folk tales, but I'd say spooky stories about them are stock material. A doll whose hair grows longer, or one chasing after you with a murder weapon in hand, you name it. Many of those stories are based off dolls that turn into material variants, which goes to show how high the likelihood is for dolls to become material variants. So the point is, it's not surprising if the doll has something to do with this case. To find out, there's one more thing I'd like to ask you. Do you know how old the doll in question could be? Sorry, I don't have that sort of information on it. You know if the doll has human hair on it. That's unclear as well, but if it does, then what does that tell you? It tells the era the doll was made in, or rather that it wasn't made in the recent past. When it was made, is that a key factor? It is. Until the early Showa period, a great number of people would collect dolls or use them for entertainment shows. Dolls were commonplace like that back then. The older dolls used in girls' days look tighter than what we have these days, if you ask me. In more recent times, they have become a standard kids' toy. Material variants are entities that are born when they've received strong human emotions. Don't you think it's highly improbable for anyone to take that good care of a doll in this modern world? Like, keep it with you 24/7 and treating it like family? People would consider them a bit crazy. And that is why old dolls are vastly dominant compared to recent ones in terms of material variants. That explains Nanashi's concern over the doll's age. You suspect the doll is the one that caused all the missing people? I wouldn't deny the doll has been used as a tool, but I would say the culprit is a human. What makes you think that? Everything has happened so far. It all smells human to me. What do you mean smells human? I assumed you have no idea what it's like because you're capable of fighting on your own without the assistance of material variants, but there are all kinds of material variants out there. A knife that cuts unbelievably well, or shoes that grant incredible speed, but whatever special abilities they may have, they're still objects. So as long as they're objects, the most important thing you should think about is who uses them and how. As for the case you have now, the doll could have a mechanism to make people disappear, but it's a human being that uses the doll to do it? That's the feeling I'm getting about this case. You think the fictional dolls that spring to mind from movies and spooky stories would bother to destroy evidence after they attack someone? In the first place, they would probably kick down doors and stuff before attacking anyone. That would leave a lot of evidence behind. That sounds about right. There would be no need to open the front door to enter someone's house if all the doll wanted to accomplish was erasing people. The fact that the culprit tried to leave no trails behind and insulted a particular individual means they are human. I've gotten myself through innumerable variant cases myself, but I've never seen a variant that did cover-ups like that. Whether they are humans, objects, or animals, variants exist only to fulfill their wants, and they act in the most straightforward and quickest way they can possibly think of. Why would a carnivorous beast clean up the leftover prey? I'm aware that it's an extreme example, but that must be what he's trying to get across me. By the way, what's your opinion on what the store owner said? At least I've seen variant dolls that had growing hair or moved around, so those really do exist, huh? Given the fact that not only did they attack him, but they even took the severed arm, that makes me feel like there's a human intent behind it. Nanashi seems to be speculating that both the events were caused by a human. Looking at it realistically, the whole thing could be something the shop owner made up to cover up a slightly psychotic robbery. Even if he's telling the truth, everything is doable if there are disobeyers capable of manipulating dolls or rewriting memories behind it. There's also a possibility that the doll is a distinctive material variant and some man in the street could have used it for the assault. I don't think the possibilities were this endless. So how did you like my answers? My pieces of merchandise, that is. Thanks a lot. It was all really helpful. Yeah, that was a lot of very helpful information. I'm glad that it pleased you. But as I told when you started the conversation, I don't have enough data to provide anything more plausible. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to take everything you said at face value, but rats, I wish I'd brought the files with me here to show you. No helping it. You have permission to browse the files freely, but you aren't allowed to carry them out even if you're in charge of the case, right? I still could have gotten the doll's picture here, though. I'm sure it doesn't tell you any personal information or elements linking to us. The doll's picture. Now I want to take a look at it. I think I should probably ask Pops to send it to me. You don't have to go that far. I need your advice, but if you do that, it'll make me feel sorry. More like, make me feel scared. Scare he'll charge me extra. No worries. Now that you're officially my business partner, I can't stand being irresponsible with the intel I hand you. Of course, there won't be any extra charge for you. Well, that makes me even more worried. Oh, please, you. I never work for free as long as blood flows in my veins. Of course, there's a catch. You really say shocking things just like that. This case is profitable for me, too. What do you mean? Even though I said it's likely the case is caused by humans, I can't rule out the small possibility that the doll itself did it. If I can get to see such a rare doll, I'll spare no effort and expense to make it happen. Ah, that makes sense. In that case, you want me to get the picture from Pops right now? Whatever reasons behind it, can't hurt to run a little errand like that if the famous Nanashi dude is going to assist me free of charge. No, I'm good. Otherwise, they would get angry at me. Angry for what? You're too good to use as a messenger pigeon. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm going to catch Pops later myself. I'm sure he'll take good care of me because he owes me a lot. In Pop's shoes, I'll definitely try to pay it off as quickly as possible, even if the price was a little too steep. Nanashi is going to get his hands on a copy of the doll's picture for sure, unless something extremely unexpected comes up. Knowing him, my picture should be here today. If you have a chance to visit tomorrow, I'll be able to offer my comments based on the picture. You got it, I'll find the time. If Nanashi has some kind of ulterior motive, it's very reassuring that I'll get to hear his opinion at least one more time. I guess I'll come back here tomorrow morning. We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot from that. Wow. And with that, I'm going to end this video here. I am actually enjoying the game. I am very interested in the mystery going on and what the heck is going on with the freaking doll. So, yeah. We also met Nanashi and, gonna be honest, I do see why they call him Scrooge. And that'll be it. Bye-bye.